Wouldn't you believe it? Another lift under the belt. One more lift added to the pile. Which, on their own, I mean, we've all kind of heard the phrase, like, one day in the gym, you're not really going to get jack out of it. It's a very minute change. It's just, I mean, freaking, what was it? The pyramids weren't built in one day. Don't I'm not going to go into a conspiracy rant about that. I don't know what's going on, how they built it. But getting back to actually lifting, just one day, one lift, it's not going to change the world, right? So let's say you have a shitty lift for any number of reasons. Just fatigue, maybe you had a lot of shit to deal with. Maybe you're just not in a fucking good headspace, If you're stressed out and if you're if you've got a lot of shit on your mind and you're constantly just in overdrive worrying about stuff, it's going to affect how you feel in a fucking huge degree. I try to make it a point to be as zen as possible, not get too many crazy fluctuations in oh crap, I gotta go do, there's so much, you know what I'm saying? I mean, some shit just isn't worth worrying about, Buddhist style. But, maybe you've got a ton of shit going on, you're not getting a ton of sleep, maybe you're sick, you're dehydrated, you didn't eat enough food, whatever. Maybe you're just in a bad mood in general. I don't know. Maybe somebody flipped you off because you cut them off in traffic and you're very upset about it. Or anything. If you have a scrappy lift, below average, not ideal. You're not going to want to have every lift be like that. But it's not the end of the world, The quality of somebody's, let's just call it overall trajectory, isn't determined by, how many perfect, awesome, badass lifts they have every month. Obviously, if you have a ton, that's going to help. But, let's say you had 3 days, which were just, well, I thought I was going to hiccup. Let's say you had 3 days, which were just absolutely fucking stellar. Fully rested, you're fully fucking, it's like, whoa, those were some crazy lifts, nice. Or maybe you had 10 days like that. But if the other 20 were kind of lackluster, maybe you went easy, you slacked off, you took extra rest days you didn't need, then, your cumulative average is going to be below the bar of, at least lower than where it could be, So it's not as though every lift has to be insane. But if every lift, you go hard, you do some good shit, you leave satisfied, at least on average, then you're on the right track. So I don't think that's groundbreaking knowledge or a fucking mind-altering statement to say, but, it's worth thinking about. So I think really what I'm trying to say is if you have a scrappy lift, or maybe if you've even had a period of scrappy lifts, like 3 or 4 or even 5 in a row, don't let that discourage you, right? Everything, like I was saying on the way in here, it's kind of an in and out. Sometimes shit goes your way, sometimes it doesn't, karma style, whatever, right? But if you keep pedaling, you'll keep moving. You'll keep on freaking moving. Don't worry about it. So, probably enough about that. Back was good. 3 movements, only 6 sets. I was talking to some guys after the gym, or after the lift on my way out, and they're like, "How many sets do you do?" I said 6. I'm like, "What? Only 6? It's so low." I don't think so. I think 6 really good sets, that's within the realm of an effective lift. I think it's, I've said this before, I guess it's been a while, so it could be worth doing again. But I feel like in terms of volume, look, that's not the craziest factor. Obviously, if you do 100 scrappy sets, or 1 scrappy set, you're not going to get any good results. But let's assume you're going hard on every set. These are good working sets. A lot of weight, or maybe a little bit less weight, and you're really squeezing, whatever. If you do 1 set, and then you leave, I'm inclined to believe you're probably better off doing 2. And if you do 2, I think you're probably better off doing 3. I don't think that, that 3 and below range is as much damage as you can handle. The whole point is you want to thrash whatever muscle you're targeting to the point of maximum stimulation, but you sort of have two. I'm trying to think. I can't really imagine this graph. You got two forces fighting against each other. You know, as you do more and more volume, I think to a point, you get more and more stimulation, right? Like, I know for a fact, if I do 2 really heavy sets of dumbbell curls instead of just 1, I think I'm still going to be able to recover from those 2 sets and, get muscular stimulation to the point which I can recover from, So how I think about it is like this. There's this sort of normal looking curve, and I think the peak is at like around 8-ish. So if you're doing 12 sets for your workout for one body part, or if you do 6, or if you do 8 or whatever, I think in that little realm is probably as good as you can get. And doing any more than that, like getting into 15 sets for one muscle group, I think you're cutting into the amount of work that you can recover from, because the goal isn't to get just sore and demolish whatever muscle you're hitting, because if that were the case, then I would just try to go on like a mile jog. I think it was either last summer or like 2 summers ago. I was feeling nice and invigorated, and I'm like, you know what, I want to go for a fucking run. So I think I went down and back on my street or something, maybe a little more than a mile. Moderate pace. I mean, I'm not really going quick, but my quads were destroyed for days because that's not something that they're used to for sure. There's just a lot of damaged lactic acid buildup, whatever. Soreness isn't the point, right? You want to hit this shit in a specific way. So if you're getting into the realm of like 15 working sets, for one, you're probably just kind of doing easy fluff work. And I don't mean that to like rip on you. I used to do a lot of fluff work. Early on, I was doing like 25 sets per body part because I was under the volume fallacy that more was better. So if I do 25 sets of curls from a bicep workout, that's sick, right? I think I would have got the same, if not better, gains by doing, closer to 10 or maybe even 8 hard sets back then. But that is what sort of makes me feel a little bit less strict about this kind of stuff when I talk about it, because sure, everybody and their fucking mom is always talking about the perfect workout routine and like rest, pause, and myo. What are some other buzzwords? Myo rep sets, drop sets, supersets, every other fucking crazy thing going on right now, which it's good. I mean, it's info, it's out there, but the dude who just goes in and like has a couple of curls that he likes, maybe he likes dumbbell curls, he likes preacher curls with the easy bar, and he likes straight bar cable curls. That's just what he likes. If he goes in and does as much weight as he can do for 10 reps for 6 sets on each of those, I think he's going to beat the guy who just is trying to do a really fancy, myofibular drop working set, 10 reps in reserve. I'm not saying it doesn't work, of course. I'm definitely not trying to say that anybody who really is into that is going about it the wrong way. But I think it's just a minute aspect, right? If you can go in consistently and go hard, I mean, that's 90% of it. I think that is 90% of progress, at least in terms of the training. You can lift as hard as you want, but if you don't eat enough food, good quality sources of protein, meats, milks, eggs, chickens, fish, whatever, as well as enough carbs and fats to have enough calories to be in a surplus, and you're never going to gain any muscle. But I think conclusive statement for this little chat, just go hard. And you can always go harder. That is, if you can get that in your mind, that you can always do more than you're doing, then you're really just setting yourself up for success, man. The guy who's going to plateau is the dude who's like, I like this split a lot. This is as good as it gets for me. I'll just keep doing like this. Same intensity every lift, not trying new shit, just, grinding the grindstone, but not really sharpening anything. Right? So, take with that what you will. I feel like I'm getting a little rambly. think I'm a little bit dehydrated. I need to get some electrolytes on my system, stat. But keep doing your cardio if you're doing it. Keep hitting your lifts, track your macros. Fucking watch some shows or whatever to get you hyped up. That's the end of it. I'll freaking see you tomorrow for arms.